Hi, this is Mrs. Downey, and I'm going to work a few of our homework problems to give you an idea to go off of, a model. So on 5-5, we're talking about theorems about roots of polynomial equations. And our first set of problems says use the rational root theorem to list all possible rational roots for each equation, then find any actual rational roots. So there's two parts. First, to find all the possibilities. That's the first part of your answer. And the second part is to find which one of those possibilities are the actual rational roots. So here's our first problem. And we've got 2x cubed minus 5x squared plus x minus 7. So our rational root theorem says look at the last term, the constant term, and our leading term, coefficients. All right? So actually, we don't have to look at the negative. All right. And so this becomes our P, and the first leading term is our Q. So now we want to find all the factors of P. And then we're going to find all the factors of Q. So all the factors of P are easy because 7 is prime. Our factors of 7 are just 1 and 7. Same with 2, our factors are just 1 and 2. And now we have to find all of our possible rational roots. Okay, and how do we find our possible rational roots? Well, we just do a P over Q. All right, so let's start with 1 on our P, and now we're going to put that on top. And now all the possibilities of that with our Q is just 1 and 2. So we've got 1 over 1 and 1 over 2, and all of these are positive, negative. And now we're done with that for P. Now move on to the next P. We've got a 7 on top. So it's going to be a 7 over a 1 and a 7 over a 2. And we're done. These are all of our possible rational roots. Now we need to check all of these, but let's clean it up first. 1 over 1 is just 1. So this is positive, negative 1. And let's look at this one. 7 over 1 is just 7. So positive, negative 7. And this is positive, negative 1/2. And you might write it as a 0.5. And positive, negative 7/2. And you might write that one as a 3.5. Okay? So now let's plug each one of these into the original equation and see if we get a 0. That's our rational root theorem. So let's get 2x cubed. So now we're going to check the possibilities. For a check, for a 0 solution. So we're going to get 2x cubed, let me write this again, plus, excuse me, it's a minus, 5x squared plus x minus 7. So what we want to do is plug each one of these numbers into this equation and see if we get a 0. Does it equal 0? We hope so. If it does, then we've got a root. So let's start with positive 1, and then we'll do negative 1. Then positive 7, negative 7. Positive 1/2, negative 1/2. Positive 7/2, negative 7/2. So we're going to check each one of these, and if they come out to 0, that's a root. So we've got the first part of our answer right here. The possible rational roots are here. Now, let's see which one of those are the actual rational roots. So let's plug them in. So now we're going to do f of 1, and that's going to be equal to 2 times 1, because 1 cubed is 1, minus 5 times 1 squared is 1, plus 1 minus 7. We want to see, does that equal 0? So that's going to be a 2 minus 5 plus 1 minus 7. That's going to be minus 6. So here we've got negative 11 plus 2. That's going to be equal to a 9. So f of 1 did not check out. No. So now let's check f of negative 1. So now we're going to go equal to 2 times, and negative 1 cubed is negative 1, right, minus 5x squared. Well, negative 1 squared is just 1, so it's just going to be a minus 5. And then minus 1 minus 7. Okay, so that I see right here we've got negative 2 plus negative 5 plus negative 1 plus negative 7. Those are all negative numbers. This is going to be a bigger negative. There's no way this is going to be equal to 0. So this is a no. All right, now we're going to repeat the process. I'm going to erase this. All right, now let me fix this. All right, now I can move this around wherever I need. Okay, so now let's check positive 7. So f of 7 is equal to 2 times 7 cubed minus 5 times 7 squared plus 7 minus 7. 7 times 7 is 49, and 49 times 7 is, okay, so that's going to equal 343, and negative 5 times 7 squared, which is 49, is equal to negative 245. And then our plus 7 minus 7 goes to 0. So I can tell you right here, we do not have a 0 situation here. So it's a no. 7 doesn't work. You'll repeat this process on negative 7, positive 1/2, negative 1/2, positive 7/2, negative 7/2. So let me show you how to work with the fractions on, let's do it with the 7/2, just a 3.5. Okay, so we're going to go, what is f of 3.5, or negative 3.5? So it's going to be equal to 3.5 cubed minus 5 times 3.5 squared plus 3.5 minus 7. And we're hoping that equals 0. Okay, but I can tell you now, it does not. So you're just going to have a calculator close by and just go after it. And these are actually very easy math, but just a lot of it. All right, so I can tell you for this problem, when you plug each one of these numbers in and check them, none of them go to 0. So there are no real rational roots. So none is the second part of your answer. Okay? And that's how you do number 2. Thank you for watching.